Howdy folks, CRK here, and welcome to Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 147. And today we're going to be talking about a Star League mech that's still around in the Inner Sphere in the year 3050. And it's kind of a shadow of what it used to be as a Star League mech, but they tried to make it better than the 3025 Succession War style Crockett. Now, the Crockett is 85 tons. It's a 353, so it does have jump jets, but it's slow. Does not have anything special on it, like ferrofibrous armor or anything of that nature. It has 20 heat sinks, standard heat sinks. Doesn't have doubles, which seems odd to me, but okay. It has 200 points of armor, which, is really sadly lacking. Let's see, because I think a standard Crockett can have 263, so yeah, it's way short of what normally would be. And let's see, weapons output here. We got a large laser in the left and right arm. We got an SRM-6 in the left and right torso, with a 2 tons of ammo in the right torso for it. We have an LBX-10 in the left torso with 2 tons of ammo in the right torso. Yeah, so all the ammo, all you gotta do is hit it in the right torso and it goes kabooey. We have 2 small lasers in the left and right arm, underslung underneath those 2 large lasers. And obviously we have jump jets in the right and left leg, and 1 in the center torso. What do I think of the Crockett in the 3050? Well, I don't like taking it because typically every time I've ever taken one of these things out, it's a walking fireball. Every time I've ever taken one of these things out, it explodes into a big massive fireball because it's carrying around all this wonderful ammo and doesn't have case. Why would you design something that during an era when you have plenty of case around to be able to put on stuff and it just explodes? So I never take the thing. Plus, in 3050, when you have the capability of putting on some more advanced weapon systems like or large lasers, it's still running around with just a plain old large laser. And it has 20 standard heat sinks when it could easily do a lot of modifications to this mech and upgrade it in many different ways just by putting double heat sinks on it and knocking some of those tonnage that you allocate towards the heat sinks into something that could be used like case. Yep, there, said it all. So we need to go on more? I suppose we should. Now, basically you have some ways of using this thing. With the weapons output or layout in this thing, you have to get fairly close with it. You're talking 15 roughly, which is pretty much knife fighting range for a lot of different mechs in the game, especially if you're facing clan. Every time I've ever taken this thing out and you don't have any cover and concealment with it and you're facing clan, they'll just nuke this thing off the face of the earth, nothing flat. Because armor really isn't, it's lacking a lot of armor, and you're walking around with tons of ammo just waiting for to be hit and explode. Once you hit one bin of ammo on this thing, it just goes off like a chain of firecrackers. So the best thing I've always found that with this mech, being that you have jump jets, and if you get yourself into a city fight or anything of that nature, this is where it actually works pretty good, is to find as much cover and concealment, move from behind buildings, down streets, keeping out of the way of the any type of opposition force trying to shoot at you until you get up close enough to deliver your package. And the biggest problem with this mech is just the heat. You're looking at, if you walk forward, say you walk around a corner of a building, you hit them with 2 large lasers and an SRM, and then fire your LBX cannon, you're looking at 22, 24 heat. You already went at 4, so if you did that 2 turns in a row, if you fired both SRM 6s, this mech is now a 2-3-3. Yeah, so it just becomes a really slow thing. So it's not really getting any modifiers unless it jumps, and then you're hurting yourself to begin with, being able to hit stuff with this unless you got a decent pilot. So it is kind of a nightmare. It actually, a lot of people look at this one, the Crockett is similar to playing the Stalker in a way when it comes to the weapons loadout on it. Basically the same mech, but with slightly different looks and capabilities. So the Stalker, let's see, is a little bit better, but we'll talk about that here sometime in the future. But this one is just kind of screaming for some modifications to make it a lot better. But if you're in a game and you get handed one of these things, you got to make the best of it, and the best way you can do with this mech is just try to use as much, like I said, cover and concealment, get into heavy woods. You can't really lay down a fire base with this thing because it's not a fire support mech. This is a mech that has to get in kind of close to do its job. Now it does have all those SRM6s, and that LBX cannon. So if you get into one of those games where somebody has a mech that has their armor ripped off and you got a bunch of open spots, this is a mech that does a pretty good job of getting crits if it makes it there. And I've seen many games where individuals, or you're playing a certain type of game where you don't have a lot of cover, protect this thing, it gets mowed down long range from a lot of different stuff. Gets kind of focused down. Now there is a few different variants of this mech. We had the original, the OT-0, or the 5003 OT-0, or -0. Let's see, that one basically was the one that had 15 double heat sinks, 2 large laser, and AC-10. It wasn't really a bad mech, not great either. Just like you're looking at something that shoots 15. That's the biggest problem with this mech, is that long range for this mech is 15, so it doesn't have anything capable of shooting out even past 15. Well, I guess they had the 2 large lasers that they replaced with, so you could go out to 19. Then there's the 5003-1B, which is kind of an interesting variant. Replaces the LBX-10 and the SRM launchers with medium lasers and pulse lasers and ER large laser. Sorry, so each arm has a medium laser, a medium pulse laser, and an ER large laser. And then you have a large or medium pulse laser in the head and the center torso. Then you have a Gauss rifle with 2 tons of ammo in the left torso. So you've replaced the LBX cannon with the Gauss rifle, which is not bad. So you do have something that can shoot out there at a range. It becomes more of a fire support mech. One of the problems is once again, some of those weapon systems, you have to get in real close with it. Literally knife fighting range with those pulse lasers. Then we have the -3, which came out in 3062, which removes a half ton of ammo and then puts on case. Yeah. Alright, so you have half ton of armor replaced with case. So you got less armor on the thing, so you're running around with even less protection for case. So I guess that's an improvement, but it's easier to punch the hole through and get to you and still hit the ammo. So there you go. But I like the idea of putting it on the case. Alright, there we go. So that's an improvement that way. Then we have the 5004-1, which came out in 63. Now this one uses the C3 computer. On the Crockett, it shares a targeting data with other mates. Obviously, if you know anything about the C3 system, that's great. It has a ton of autocannon ammunition removed, and missile launchers have been downgraded to SRM4s, and the remaining half ton went to additional half ton of armor. Finally, all the weapons have been upgraded to extended. So now you have ER small, ER medium, and or ER smalls, ER large lasers involved. So yeah, that's kind of a nice thing, because then you have a C3 computer on board. So kind of command and control type of mech. But still, if you have a C3 system on there, you want to protect that one best as possible. So then we have the 5005-1, which is the Word of Blake, coming out in 3070. Uses a light engine, fusion engine on board. Has improved jump jets, so it flies a little bit farther. And has the small lasers have been removed, and utilizes a different kind of cockpit. And pretty much it's a frontline mech. So there you go. There's some different variants of it. Nothing really to write home about. Nothing great. Nothing fantastic about it. Now, what can we do with this mech? If you got your hands on one and you wanted to do some upgrades on it, you got some options here. You got plenty of tonnage just sitting inside that heatsink department. So first thing I would do with this mech is downgrade the number of heat sinks I have and put in doubles. So you can put in 14 double heat sinks and get 8 more heat dissipated, and still have 6 more tons to play with. Oh geez, what can I do with 6 tons? Well, obviously, if you're looking at the -2 version, which of the Crockett, first thing I do is upgrade the 2 large lasers, 2 ER large lasers. Okay, check that off. There's 24 heat that creates. We can dissipate that, no problem. We have the LBX-10. All right, we got that. That creates 2 heat, so we're still fine. So if you run with that mech, fire the LBX, 2 large lasers, you have the capability of dissipating all that. Now, if you jumped and fired those 3, you're going up 1. Okay, we can manage that. That's not a big deal. Now, here's where we can play with. One interesting thing is before we had 12, that leaves us some room left over to upgrade the armor. And so far, all we've done is nothing other than putting on double heat sinks and upgrading the weapon systems. So we could put 4 tons of it into, let's say, the armor. That would almost max out, I would believe, max it out. Or yes, it would max it out. And so that leaves us 2 tons left over. So what do you want to do with the 2 tons? Well, we got some options here. You can always throw on Artemis on your 2 SRM6s, so more missiles possibly hit. There's an option right there. Another thing you could do is put a ton towards the small lasers that you have and upgrade them to medium lasers. That still leaves you a ton left over. And if you're inclined to one of those type of individuals, get a special order, tear the mech completely apart and rebuild it from the ground up and put case on it. Then there's that option if you don't have that capability. So if you're still running around, you could throw another medium laser on, or give yourself a if you have access to the C3 system, and let's say if you're part of the Draconius Combine, maybe get one from them so you work into their networks. You know, that's a possibility. So yeah, the kind of sky is the limit there. Or you can just put another heatsink on, so you're running around 15 instead, so you can dissipate all your heat that you generate. Because otherwise, with the 2 upgraded medium lasers from Smalls, 6 plus another 8, 14. So yeah, another heat sink would help you dissipate a lot of that extra heat that you are creating. So you probably would have to shut off one large laser instead when you get into the shorter range with all your shorter range weapon systems. So there you go. That's a couple options that you can go with. So you could always put down below what you think of this mech, any modifications you'd like to put on or done with this over time. There's another one that I've seen before where they dropped the LBX cannon, put another ER large laser on board, and then some more heat sinks allocated that direction so they can fire all 3 ER large lasers. Or they've also done it where they put a ER PPC on board in place of the LBX cannon. You know, that creates more heat. Yeah, that's a big problem, but you know, you have 5 tons you can play with, so you can throw a few more towards the heat sinks and then some more medium lasers or something of that nature. So there you go. Lots of options with this thing to make it a little bit better mech, turn it into a little bit more better fighter. Otherwise, just have to hide this thing to your best ability until you can break it out and pounce on somebody, if that is possible. Because the moment this thing starts taking a lot of damage, I usually find it blows up in a big fireball. So there you go. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with all your friends, and we will talk with you all later. Hellcrags out.